Hello, guys. Welcome back to the Uncensored Critic podcast. Thank you, as always, for tuning in. It means the world to me. Thank you very, very much indeed. And today we welcome along. No, I should have done this just before we started recording. Eve, how do I pronounce your name again?
Eve Shanu-Wilson.
Eve Shanu-Wilson. There we go. We welcome along today Eve Shanu-Wilson, another member of the GSA family. It's been a while since I've had one of them on, actually. So, another member of the GSA family. Her credits include Rita in The Sweet Smell of Success and Cheryl Stote in Wind in the Willows. There's a lot of S's there. Workshops include Sarah Bennett in 1666 for ATG. Her television includes Hannah, Season 2, currently on Amazon Prime. And her other work includes the feature storyteller in Children of Eden for West End Does, and a soloist in a show called Roles Will Never Play Emerging Talent. And you can currently see her at His Majesty's Theatre in London as the first cover of Christine, currently performing on Tuesdays and Fridays and all other days when the main Christine may fancy a night off. So keep an eye on West End, I think it's West End Understudies on Twitter/X for Eve's performances, should there be any more than Tuesdays and Fridays. But in the meantime, she's absolutely storming it. And I was lucky enough to share a drama school experience with Eve. I'm going to talk all about that and Phantom and everything in between. So without further ado, hello, Eve.
Hello, how are you?
I'm very good. How are you?
I'm good. It's a lovely morning.
It is a very lovely morning. Yeah. We start at the beginning with every guest. So, Eve, where did it come from? The love of performing, musical theatre, where did it start for you?
Gosh, well, I think for me it came from family. My family is not in musical theatre or any kind of performing arts. They're all like doctors or engineers or like biochemists. They're all very smart people. But they always have. My mum loves music and musicals, and my grandparents always used to take me to like the ballet in Birmingham and stuff like that. And so I always had an exposure from an early age of stage and all kinds of music. And I think, yeah, I just grew up and we were actually talking about this the other day. I went home for my granddad's birthday and they were saying how all my cousins used to be like, when we went to see pantos, uh, they'd be fidgeting or they'd be scared of the villain. And apparently I just was silent for 2 hours and I wouldn't leave afterwards. So they were just stuck there in the auditorium and I wouldn't leave because I wanted to see it again. So I think, yeah, I think maybe it's quite innate, just that love of theatre and I think yeah, live theatre as well. There's something just so like electric about it. And even going to see shows now, I'm just like it's that excitement of you kind of know what's going to happen, but you never really know. And there's always a little surprise somewhere. So yeah, I love everything about it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you remember which panto it was?
I mean, I was like three.
Okay.
Uh, but my like first memory of a show was actually, I think it must have been a UK tour of Joseph and his Technicolor Dreamcoat,
Yeah.
and we went to see it with my best friend, and she fell asleep because we were
Oh,
only like six, and apparently I was just like, so it all comes from Joseph.
all comes from Joseph. And
Joseph.
another Andrew Lloyd Webber show as well. So,
Yes, funnily enough, yes.
yeah, it's all linked, man. So, yeah, I mentioned in the intro, you're another member of the GSA family. And so, yeah, you were there for, your 3 years, unfortunately, was in the middle of a pandemic. And, but yeah, so despite all the sort of, I don't know if setbacks is the right word, but restrictions that you had at the time, how was your training? How was Guildford?
I mean, I fell in love with Guildford the first time I went to an open day there.
Mm,
I think it was the fact that it's still a uni and there's still a lot of different people out there. It's not just that drama school bubble that I think you can get quite uh, caught up in, and it's quite intense.
yeah.
And so it's always nice to sort of just go and grab a coffee at the student Starbucks, and there's people just doing an engineer degree, and it's quite, I guess, grounding in a weird way. Like it's just, oh, we're not saving lives. We're just practicing a dance, for the Bel Air studio. It's not crazy. Um, but I absolutely, yeah, I loved it. I think the training is second to none there. And the small year groups that we had a class of I think 30.
Mm,
Um, and weirdly there were more boys than girls as well, which was like unheard of in drama school. And we just all got on so well. And we're still a family. Like we had a girls' night the other night with all the girls from GSA. Um, yeah, I think it's that family atmosphere and we support each other, I think,
mm,
through it all. And it's not particularly competitive or, there's no, for lack of a better word, bitchiness. It really was, at least in my experience, a massive just family.
mm.
And I think the pandemic actually just promoted that because we always used to go on Zoom. So, we'd be on Zoom all day doing, dancing, singing, acting, and then we'd be on the group chat and we'd like, right, let's have a drink afterwards at the pub, which is a Zoom meeting. So, we'd all hop on at about 8 p.m. and we'd be chatting until half 12, 1 a.m. like most days.
Mm.
So I think we got really close through the pandemic, weirdly. So we came back for third year and everything had opened up again. And it was just great to be, everyone was just so excited because we were like, we can touch each other. Woo!
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, we were talking when we came on. I deferred my place because I only had one slice of drama school, whereas you had three. And
Yeah.
yeah, when we came back for that year, everything just felt so much better. So much more open. We were like,
Yeah.
the fact we could just hug each other and shake each other's hand was like, it's like we haven't done this in about a year and a half. What's going on?
Yeah, and then
But
when you do Zoom lag as well, like when you're doing scenes and there was a lag on Zoom and
oh my God,
oh, just the worst. Honestly, I've still got like the videos. We had to record it. I've
yeah.
still got the videos on my private YouTube thing. We had to submit them via YouTube, and oh my, the laughs we had when we dig those out, it's so funny.
No, I remember there was two trying to do Shakespeare on Zoom. Yeah, guys, do not try and do Shakespeare on Zoom, by the way. There was one, these two were doing the balcony scene from Romeo and Juliet, and it's like one of the guys started and went, but soft, or light through yonder.
Yeah,
And
lag. Yeah.
you were going, oh my God. This, and
No,
then Juliet would come in and she'd be on mute, and you'd be like, "Oh, you have to unmute, you have to unmute. Oh, sorry." And then you're like, oh God, yeah, I don't miss that time at all.
no,
But
not
yeah,
at all.
yeah. I mean, I can't imagine what was dancing like on Zoom. That must have been a bit like,
Yeah, I mean, look, somehow everyone made it work.
yeah.
We had like a shed in the back of the garden, and
Hmm.
because at that point, every single person, whether you're, you know, in uni, having a job at school, you were all on Zoom at the same time. So my mum and my dad were trying to do, their meeting Zoom calls, and they'd be like, "You gotta shut up, because I'm on a Zoom call and you're singing a top C. This can't work. This isn't working." So I basically got delegated to the shed. I say a shed, it's more like a summer house. Like it's got windows and stuff. So
Yeah, yeah,
we sort of cleaned that up. We did a little bit of a spring clean, and I basically had my own studio, which was amazing.
yeah.
Um, and I was very lucky to have that little space because most people were in their living rooms or their bedrooms.
Mm.
But yeah, we all just kind of made it work, and the teachers were great. They were also understanding, and they'd make sure that everything would work despite our spaces and stuff like that. So yeah, it was tricky, but we all managed somehow.
Yeah. Oh, you did. And then just one final bit on Guildford is that if anyone who remembers who was there that day, would you mind just telling the story again about how you heard that you got Christine while you were at drama school?
Yeah, so that was a crazy experience, and you can tell by my face it's still one of the best days of my life, I think. So we were about to open one of our third year shows called Sweet Smell of Success, and I was playing Rita, which is like one of the main characters, and we were about to do a dress run, and I'd missed quite a few rehearsals because I'd been auditioning for Phantom. And if anyone follows me on TikTok or YouTube, I used to talk about it, and I did about 8 or 9 rounds. So, 8 trips into London during the week, which meant I missed some rehearsals.
Ouch.
So I kind of catch up with the dance captain on all the stuff that I'd missed before the dress run. And Julian Wolford, who was the head of third year at the time,
Mm.
he called me out, and I was like, "Oh my God, not now, Julian! I've got so much to learn, and I've got to do a dress run in like 20 minutes." And yeah, he pulled me out and he brought me into the foyer. Uh, and he like made me sit down. I was like, "Oh, what have I done wrong this time? Oh God!" And then he basically broke the news that yeah, they wanted me as second cover Christine, and I had some of my friends from the year below sat on the bench next to me, and they all obviously heard,
Mm.
and I just put my head in my hands because I couldn't process it. But they all just started screaming, like
Mm.
screaming. And then, as you said, you were in a studio and heard all this screaming,
Yeah.
everyone from every studio. So imagine like 800 maybe people
Yeah, it's a
all
lot. Yeah.
flocking out onto the balconies, looking down onto the foyer, and everyone just started clapping and screaming and applauding. And most people probably didn't know why, but the sort of rumor got round that I'd got cover Christine. And yeah, it was just such a lovely moment after 2 years of the pandemic and all that hard work, and everyone just felt you could just feel that everyone was happy and everyone was happy for me. And so that's the thing about the family. Like no one was, oh, I wish that was me in a sort of negative way. Everyone was just sort of come together and celebrating.
Absolutely.
yeah, it was just honestly, I mean, I'm still beaming. It was just, yeah, it was an amazing experience. And then I had to go and do a dress run, but I don't remember it because I was just like, what's going on?
Yeah,
My whole
yeah.
life has literally just changed.
So you,
Um,
I get this image now of like the dance captain going to you, okay, Eve, and go, and you're going,
yeah, I'm just
you,
going.
what? Sorry, what? It's like you move over there. How does it go again?
Yeah,
And you're literally just like, oh my God. But
yeah, that
no,
was like 3 days like a fever dream. Yeah, crazy.
yeah, no, I must admit, when I remember we were talking before he came on about, I was in Dom Rouse's class and we just heard all this screaming and we're like, well, I genuinely thought like something like really terrible had happened and we were all
Yeah,
going, what the hell's going on? And we ran outside and everyone's screaming and clapping. And I said to someone next to me, I was like, what's going on? And they went, she's just got Christine. She's just got Christine. And we were like, what, in the West End? She was like, yes. And I was
yeah,
like, oh my.
crazy.
That's crazy, man. Yeah, but congratulations, by the way. That must have been like just one hell of a day. So,
Yeah.
which brings us neatly on to Christine. So, tell me about the audition process because you said there you'd done, is it 8 rounds before you
Yeah.
got it?
Yeah, I mean, so this varies obviously from person to person and year to year with the casting, but uh, that year they basically Cameron Mackintosh have their own casting team,
Hmm.
and so they come into GSA and I think Mount View and Artsed and maybe a few other drama schools, and they basically just sit for a day and listen to all the third years, whether that's masters, BA. So I think some of the acting students are allowed to do it as well. I'm not if they want to, I'm not sure. But
Mm.
you basically just sing one song for them. And so, depending on whether you want to go in for Hamilton or Mary Poppins or Phantom or Les Mis, you basically just sing a song that's tailored to that style.
Okay.
I was like, oh, I'd like to kind of do maybe Les Mis or something. Never thought Phantom in a million years. I was like, I can't do that. No way. So I sung Moonfall from Edwin Drood.
Hmm.
Uh, and they were like, so what's your range? And I was like, I don't know. I don't have a range. I don't know. And I kind of just made up. I was like, I think like a B flat on a good day. And Christine goes up to a top C every time. So I hadn't even thought about that.
Mm.
Uh, and so yeah, I walked out and they were like, do you think like a top C or above? And I was like, I don't know, maybe. And just walked out. Didn't think anything of it. And then I was fun enough doing some filming over the weekend. And I got an email, and we're not allowed to go on your phones when you're filming because of privacy policy. And I
Mm.
checked the day and it had Phantom of the Opera, Cameron Mackintosh audition. I was like, this is clearly not for me. They clearly said this is the wrong person. They were like, they'd invited me to do a Christine audition. And I was like, so I called my head of year and I was like, I can't sing Christine. If I go in there and try and sing Christine, I'll make an idiot of myself. I cannot do this. But anyway, a couple of of my friends who were also in third year had also got audition. So we were like, right, let's just all go in together. It's all going to be terrible, but who cares? Let's just have a fun day. So we all went into London on the Guildford train and, we're all dressed in our nice finery and, got our little high heels on. And we went in and the team was so lovely because they could all tell we were terrified for our lives. And yeah, I went in, I think I sung Think of Me, Wishing, and then
Hmm.
we did a little bit of work on it. And they were like, could you just do this differently and this? And I was like, yeah, yeah, let's do it. And I left and I was like, look, I didn't make a fool of myself, but I don't think it's for me. I
Mm.
think they were being kind. Anyway, and I got a recall the next day and I was like, what? Me? And it was kind of that sort of disbelief going through. And it got to about round 5 and I was like, oh, this is actually getting quite serious.
Mm.
And it was just that thing of, you come in and they said, don't wear your nice dresses, just wear a pair of jeans, we'll just workshop it, we'll just go through stuff. So we did, and it was a long process because I wasn't the finished product. I was definitely on that journey. So I think they were just trying to see whether I had that potential to get there within, 6 to 8 months. And then we had a dance call with some of the other Christines that were in. There was 5 of us, and we just did a few like balances and turns and stuff like that just to make sure we could kind of move. Yeah, and then we did the finals on stage at His Majesty's, which was insane to me. I was like, this is madness. And that was really amazing. And the panel was so lovely. I actually fell over. I fell into the audition literally, like I fell down the steps. Uh, and I was like, oh God, I'm so sorry, guys, in very moved fashion. But yeah, no, it was amazing. And then I finished and I was kind of like, oh, I did myself proud. I got through all these rounds and I won't be getting it, but that's a great chapter done. It's a great experience. And then,
Mm.
yeah, and then I got, Julian told me that I got it. And I just was like, I don't understand how this has happened. But yes, I got second cover, um, which basically is it was a new thing that they put in after the pandemic actually.
Hmm.
So before they had three Christines, which was the principal, the alternate, and then the first cover. And
Yeah,
then after the pandemic, they put in a second cover because Christine's a massive role, and if you get even slightly sick, you can't really push through.
yeah, exactly.
So I was kind of like the not emergency cover, but it's very rare that a second cover would go on because there's three other people to like get through essentially. So I got it, and I was like, well, I might not ever go on, but still, it's a great experience. I'll get to do all the rehearsals, and yeah, I didn't make my debut for 7 months.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, it was over halfway through the contract. Yeah, and I finally
Okay.
got my time to shine, and that was an amazing experience. But yeah, it was great actually because you didn't have that pressure of like, oh my God, I've got to go on like every month because
Mm,
I still wasn't there yet. I'm the first person to say that I was not. I never thought of myself as a Christine when I was younger.
mm,
Um, and they really like they gave me singing lessons and just the confidence boost I needed. And I think also singing that style in the ensemble 8 times a week was so helpful. But that was the best learning process I could have really,
mm.
and being around other professionals and learning how they took after the voices and stuff like that. So yeah, that was like my sort of journey into Phantom.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, and you sort of one thing I sort of picked up on there as you were talking, like about how you went into the audition with like, yeah, just treat it like a fun day out. Yeah, we're just.
Obviously, I was shaking, sweating, crying, all of it.
Oh,
Like I
oh
was
yeah,
so.
yeah, of course. Yeah,
But yeah, I think because it wasn't obviously it was a dream role, but it wasn't something I thought was possible for me.
yeah.
I kind of just went, if they want to see me, I'm not the one to say no. I'm not going to turn it down. So I'll just have a go and see what happens. But yeah, I think it was that kind of whatever happens, happens. I think that's so important to have going in this industry because you never know. You might think you're perfect for something and they go, no, you're not. And then vice versa. So I think you've always got to maintain that sense of just like what will be. And that you can't control that. There's so much that is out of control in this industry. And so I think it's really important to make sure you hold on to what you can control of like preparing the material, making sure you're well rested, all this kind of stuff. But
Mm,
after that, it's not your problem.
yeah,
You've done what you can. Yeah.
exactly. So tell me about your those 6, 7 months in. Yeah, you've got the news. All right, you're Eve. You're on tonight. You're
Yeah.
Christine. Well, yeah, tell me about that day.
Yeah, it was hilarious actually because we were actually in rehearsal during the day and we were teching in the new alternate Christine, which was Paige Blankson.
Hmm.
Um, and so obviously she couldn't go on yet because she was still being teched in. And so they said, look, you're on tonight. And I was like, what? Me? Do Christine? Okay. And so thank God we were doing tech because I basically just sat in the auditorium and just watched Paige and was like, okay, what's she doing? Okay, I need to remember to do that. And da, 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 da. So it was great because I kind of just got to watch the show before I had to do the show.
Mm.
Uh, and then yeah, had like an hour nap. And then I was on and it was amazing and everyone was so supportive and like massively rallied around me and you know it was weird because I think my body just knew what to do because I didn't. I was just like, oh, but my body was like, you go there now and you do this now and this is this and
Yeah.
Christine's quite a nice track because once you're on, you're on. So
Mm.
you kind of don't have time to overthink. You just have to do it. So yeah, it was an amazing experience and I got enough notice that I sort of put in my GSA group chat, oh guys, like if you can, I guess come down to the theatre and try and see. And like 15 of them turned up and bought
Wow.
tickets. And, yeah, I've never had an audience like it, let's put it like that, and all my parents, my grandparents came and yeah, it was really special. And in the bowels, I finally like thought about everyone out there. I just cried. It was
Yeah,
just an experience, yeah.
yeah, I don't blame you. I don't blame you at all. No, I just that feeling of just like walking out there for the first time, going like, this is what the last 3 years I've been training for. This is what I've wanted to do since that very first moment of sitting watching a pantomime and not wanting to go home. And suddenly there you are. You know, how does it feel when you make that West End debut? I mean, can you afford to think too much, or do you just kind of get on with it and you're just thinking, I don't really know what's going on, but I know I've got to do this, or I know I've got to do this, and then eventually it's like, oh, we're done. Okay, sweet.
I
Yeah,
think it was the coming out of stage door afterwards when I was like, oh, I've made my West End like principal debut. Oh, that's crazy.
yeah,
Yeah, when you're in the show, because it's not about me then. Once you're doing the show, that's not nothing to do with you. You
yeah.
do the show for the audience. That's what I was thinking anyway. And it was funny because it was actually like I think it was like a Valentine's Day sort of social media influencers like press night almost. And they basically, I didn't know this at the time, but they basically invited loads of people who have followings on social media to come and see the show and like have the Valentine's Day experience so they could then post about it. And I had no idea. So also afterwards, I got so many messages on social media and so many people tagging me in these photos of me in the bows. And I was like, oh my God, that's me. Like, that's insane. Because you
Yeah.
kind of just don't realize. And then the next day I was walking to work and I was doing my ensemble track that evening. Uh, and I just got I seen someone tag me in a photo and then I was on the phone to my mum and I just started crying in the middle of the street and I was like, oh my God, like I've just played Christine Daaé on the West End. Like that's something that I never thought could happen for me. And I know it's so many people's dreams and it just feels so like a full circle moment. Yeah.
Mm.
It was just great. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah, I've definitely come see you eventually. I haven't seen Phantom for a little while actually. So, yeah,
Great. Yeah. Come on
yeah,
down.
yeah, for sure, for sure. So one thing that Christine's such it's part of like musical theatre kind of heritage now. It's like one of the Greek gods, I think, of the musical theatre world, really. So, I mean, one thing that I like to talk about on here is like everyone has played like similar parts and stuff. And, Christine, you are playing the character with the same name, you're singing the same songs, you're singing the same thing every night, and lots of people doing it, but everyone's got a unique opinion of who that person is. So, to you, who is Christine?
Gosh, I mean, what isn't she? I feel like Christine is such an amazing character to get to play because, she's young and she's like that typical ingenue kind of type. But I
Mm,
think she has so much time on stage and she sings so much of the show. I think it's like, it must be over an hour and a half of singing, like, or at least stage time for Christine. And
mm,
it's one of those things where you can go on that journey with her. And I think that she's this she is a powerhouse, she
yeah,
comes across as, demure, but she is a powerhouse and she has real human emotions. And I think it can often get lost in sort of, the grandeur and the campness of Phantom and all the
mm,
spectacle of it and the amazing songs. But I think as a character and the way she grows throughout the musical. And I always think Wishing is such a pivotal moment because I
yeah,
think it's the first time the audience sees the like the rawest side of her. There's no like romance involved. There's no, glitz and glamour of being on stage and singing one of the operas. It's just her as Christine.
yeah,
Um, and I mean, actually, the song really scares me because I always think it's such an important moment. I always want to do it properly. And it's great because every Christine does Wishing differently
mm,
because you're the only person on that stage and you're the only person that interprets that scene. And so everyone can have their own little spin on it. And, some people are much more sort of uh, inward about it and it's all very like in there. Some people are very angry and some people are like it's like a happy memory about their father and eh, all that can change night to night depending on how the show's gone and whatever. And I think it's just really special that she's a real she feels very real.
mm,
um and yeah, I think yeah she is a powerhouse, not in
yeah,
the conventional like, you know power to women, like very vocal about it, but she still is and she still does advocate for herself.
mm,
And I think over the years it's become more and more apparent, and I think the direction and how we are directed as a Christine has changed and it is much more front-footed and she is meant to be a lot more in charge of her own destiny as opposed to being pulled around by others.
mm,
And I really hope that sort of comes across and that it's,
yeah,
because
sure.
it's from the 80s and it's, a lot has changed since then. And I think it's really great that Phantom has moved on with the feminist movement and Me Too and all that kind of women need their voices. And I think Wishing has always been that moment.
Mm,
But I think it's been maybe not highlighted as much. And I think this is a great, especially since the pandemic, the way it's been played is amazing. And I think it makes you feel like, yeah, yeah,
mm.
And
Yeah,
it's great.
yeah, she's great. Yeah, she's really good. You know, a question just came into my head there, and I'm going to say it now. Actually, I was going to go slightly off piece, but if I don't say it, I'll probably forget it. In the show, so slight spoiler for anyone who hasn't seen Phantom. There is this kind of love triangle between the Phantom, between Christine and Raoul. Now, Raoul's known Christine since they were kids, and how old is the Phantom technically?
It, he doesn't have like it is ageless.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, so many different actors have played him over the
yeah.
years of, varying degrees of age. I think he's meant to be. I mean, do not quote me on this.
Oh
I
no,
think he's slightly older than like Raoul, Raoul. I think Christine's younger than Raoul by maybe a year or two.
no. Mm,
And I think Phantom's meant to be somewhat older than Raoul.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but yeah, I'm not entirely sure. There's no like actual age.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't.
yeah. I never thought about that until now, actually.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, there's this love triangle between the three of them, and I d- and I just crazy question. I'm going to say it anyway. You know, Christine, like, because there's that wonderful duet that you have with Raoul, which is all I ask of you. But Christine early on thinks that, well, for my reading of it, anyway, is that she's besotted with the Phantom because he was her teacher. He helped her sing in the way that she does. So I don't know which. Basically, what I'm trying to say is, right? Does Christian, sorry, love Raoul more, or does she love the Phantom more in a way? Which one do you think she has more love for? Do you think?
Honestly, it changes night to night, and
Yeah,
Christine to Christine, and depending on the trio and how the Phantom plays it, how the Raoul plays it. There's so many different. It's so nuanced that I actually know people like Team Raoul or Team Phantom, and everyone goes, "Oh, I can't choose," and it's not a cop out because every scene with the Phantom, with Raoul, it's completely different energies. And I think that's why also the show works, is because there are so many different energies being given by the actors, and because of the text and the music. So it's one of those things where you can have you can love many different people in many different ways. And I think it's literally just, yes, it's a love triangle, but I think there's love for both of them there, and it
mm,
just is different. And I think, Raoul and Christine is very much the quintessential like romance, epic romance that everyone thinks of,
yeah,
and then I think the Phantom is that more sensual side, and
yeah,
maybe more of a what can we get from each other kind of relationship, and a partnership maybe is a better word for it. Um, but yeah, yeah, it does change night to night. And
yeah.
when you give the ring back, I always think I give the ring back and I leave. And I always go, oh, it's funny how I played it like that tonight. And you don't think about it, you just react, and that's the scene. But night to night, I will go, oh, I played that really hurt tonight, or I played that really stoic tonight, or depend. So it really does depend on the day.
Mm,
Um, but I think the answer is she loves both of them.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's funny because well, one of my favorite songs in the show is "Music of the Night," and
Yes.
which you have the luxury of actually not singing for a while. You have like a few minutes off because
Yeah.
you've just done that. Oh, very quickly. What's that? You know that note you have at the end of when you go "Sing for me" and you go, yeah. What note is that? Is that a top E?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. Because and is it true that they record that and they play it over to save the actress's voice every night?
It I actually don't know if I can answer that one. I'm not sure.
Okay. Okay.
I think that's a kept secret.
Okay. Kept secret then. Say no
But
more.
yeah, I don't think we can answer that one, unfortunately.
Okay, cool. Right. We'll keep okay, trade secrets. Okay, trade secrets. Okay. So anyway, you've done that big thing going but right at the end, and then you have a few minutes off, and then
Yeah.
anyway, "Music of the Night." It's a beautiful song, but
Mm.
it's not until like recently, having done drama score, done more text analysis and stuff, and before I thought it was just a guy singing about his love of music, but actually, it's a song about seduction. It
Yes.
it's a song about a teacher trying to seduce his student, and it's suddenly that all started to make sense, and I'm going, oh, hang on a second, hang on a second, this is not how I remember it.
Yeah.
But yeah, what's it like in that moment? Does it work? Do you think Christine is falling under his spell in that moment?
Oh, yeah, because you've got to imagine, like, why would she go to this underground place with this man who's
Mm,
appeared through the mirror unless there was a motive for her. And I think a lot of people either don't recognize that, or they just are swept over the story. They don't realize that, well, of course she's going with him because she wants him, you know,
Mm.
or she wants to find out more about him. She's interested, intrigued by him. And I think it's that curiosity of that awakening that every, you know, young woman has. And I think it then that feeds in so well with the music of the night, and that kind of, you know, we used to talk about breathlessness during the scene, and opening your eyes, because there's lots of closing and opening of the eyes, and finding stuff out about yourself and about his world, I guess, that's so different from maybe the ballet chorus that she's been used to before.
Yeah.
um but yeah, especially recently, actually, we've gone back and we've done lots of rehearsals with the director Seth. And actually, Andrew and Cameron have come in and seen it and had opinions on it. And I
Nice.
think the overarching thing is, you know, it is that sensuality, and it's meant to be sexy.
Mm.
Um, and but it's mutually sexy. You know, she wants him, he wants her. But there's obviously a divide, and you know that's why there's a power play and stuff like that. But it's very much a mutual awakening for both of them, I think. And just, you know, he's lived on his own for however many years, and you know hasn't been around girls, so you know it is a mutual thing. And I think especially recently in this new cast change, I really think that comes across when people watch it.
Yeah. Who's
Yeah,
current?
if people have recognized that or seen a difference. Yeah.
Yeah, because who's playing Phantom at the moment? Who's your
The one called Dean Chisnell.
Ian Chisnell? Nice. Um, yeah, it's funny because that song is just it's beautiful in every way possible. But once you realize it's about seduction and everything, but it's interesting what you said that nothing actually happens. There's feelings on both sides, and you can feel this like the sensuality in the room. But then Christine sort of faints. He puts her to bed, and then just and that's it. You know,
Yeah.
nothing happened. Why is there that divides, that barrier, like you say?
I mean, I think it changes again from person to person, and whatever. But I think, in my opinion, how that always works is I mean, she's just gone through a whole lot. She's just like debuted as an opera star. She's gone down to this like crazy lair that she's just had all these crazy feelings. She probably hasn't eaten dinner because she's just, you
Yeah,
know, Rao said, let's go have dinner, and she skipped it. So she's probably, you know, a bit tired, and
and
she's
she's
just gone,
hungry.
it's all just too much for me. And, you know, she passes out, you know, as probably someone would when they're overwhelmed.
Mm,
Um, and then but I think the thing to notice is that the Phantom recognizes that, and, you know, he doesn't push his luck, or it's very much he cares. And it's not just a seduction, it's not just about the sexual side, it's about the person, and he very much cares about Christine as a person.
yeah,
And there is that fathering gaze, and you know he's her teacher, and there is that relationship of he wants to care for her as well, and it's not just the sexual and sensual side of things. I think there's both, and I think actually that moment really marries the two together, and it
mm,
makes it more of a rounded and realistic story rather than just a crazy man in a mask singing at her about wanting to love her forever. Do you know what I mean? It's much more nuanced than that, I think.
yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. And you know, again, another spoiler, but towards the end, as you go back into the cave, and there's again the triangle is there, and it's not just a love triangle anymore. It's like a tug of war between two guys fighting for Christine, while Raoul is kind of strung up at the back of the stage. He's still alive, by the way. He doesn't die. But but it's that scene where you know, there's a few questions actually about the show I never realized I had until now. Is that, you know, when she there's that final moment towards the end where she says, "God, give me courage to show you that you are not alone." Um, what's the reasoning behind that kiss exactly? Is it just to show him that she loves him as much as she loves?
Yeah, I think it's a way of explicitly showing love, and I think, you know, everyone recognizes a kiss as something intimate and loving
Yeah.
within reason, and I think she realizes that is the only way for him to understand that he can be loved and he's worthy of love.
Mhm.
And, you know, maybe necessarily debate, you know, again, depending completely on the person and how they want to play it. Maybe she's not the person to give him that kind of love, but
Mm.
he is completely worthy. And I think that's a really important thing, is that everyone is worthy of love. And I think
Yeah.
that's a really big theme in Phantom, that no matter who you are worthy of love. And the fact that Christine is the person to show him that and to give him that gift, I think is really powerful of Christine, and she
Oh,
has so much power in that scene. Um, and I think it's a great way of showing that power isn't always physical, it's also emotional, and it's also giving as well as receiving.
yeah,
Um, yeah, but I think that is the moment of you are enough, you know,
yeah.
and you don't have to do all these crazy things to prove that you're worth your love or to try and get love. It's given, and you can't take love. You can't make someone love you. You
Mm,
you have to let it happen. I think that's what that moment is.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, and there's another great moment. It's one of my favorite moments in the show. Have you seen the film, by the way?
Ages ago, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. Did you like it?
Actually, my granny showed it to me. Yeah, and I loved it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's a tremendous film, and I didn't realize Jared Butler was the Phantom. I
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
was like, he
Crazy.
does a great job, really, really good job. Yeah, and Amy Rossum is, oh, she's fantastic as
Yeah.
Christine. She's brilliant. But it was one of my favorite moments in the film, also one of my favorite moments in the show, and you know, it's a point of no return, which
Hmm.
is just brilliant. I mean,
Yeah.
and you have that fantastic bit where that I'm not going to sing it because I can't, because it's too high for me. But there's that bit where you say, "When will?" Oh, just remember the lyrics. When will the blood begin to waste?
Grace, the sleeping bud burst into bloom. When will the flames at last consume us?
Yeah, that
Yeah.
bit where you say, "The flames at last consume us," and you have that lovely, powerful sort of lower note in your
Yeah.
register.
Yeah.
Which is wow, I love that scene. It's brilliant. But yeah, but that's sort of that's sort of like a counteracting to Music of the Night because then suddenly it's not about love anymore. Suddenly it's like this entanglement of just yeah. Well, what is it? What's so different about this one?
Past the point is the power play of the relationship of
Yeah,
the pulling of each other in their own wills, and you know Christine realizing that it's the phantom and she takes control. And again, past the point, that might be another change from pre-pandemic, is that she takes control in her verse and she changes the choreography of the opera, because she knows it's the phantom, and she's making him feel things rather than the other way around.
mm,
And that I always love that scene because I think it's so powerful.
mm,
Um, but yeah, that moment is her going, "Is this what you wanted? Is this how you like it? Because I'm going to do something different, and
mm,
I'm going to do this." And I think it's her telling the Phantom, "I'm not a wallflower. You can't push and pull me around. I have my own things to do, and I have my own agenda, and I won't be led by one person or Raoul or Phantom. I'm my own person." Yeah.
yeah. It's like and the lyric after that. The is it the bridges cross, so stand and watch it burn.
Yeah. Yeah, I think she's gone, you've dug yourself this hole and there has to be consequences. Because also love is consequences as well. You can't just get away with everything you want. And that's why it's a partnership and you have to work through things. But yeah, I think that's just a great scene of power from both sides. And I think it really rallies the show up to the final moment in the final layer.
Mm.
Um, so yeah. Also, is it okay if I just quickly nip to the loo? Is that okay?
Yeah,
So
sure, sure. Yeah,
I'll,
go on, go on.
I'll,
Yeah, we'll just pause here. And we're back. Okay. So yeah, and then what follows that is this actually the famous moment where we see what is actually behind the mask, and we see this man with all these injuries and I don't know how is it ever explained like how he got those injuries in the first place?
not in the show, no. I think in the
Yeah.
movie there's a bit more like
Yeah.
of
They
an
go
interpretation, I guess.
they go into
Uh,
more detail, yeah, they do.
yeah, but I this mask, my first unfinished scrap of clothing. The this face, the infection which poisons our love. So
Oh
I think a
yes.
lot of people interpret that as there was some sort of disease maybe had the flesh eating or some sort of amalgamation of a infection.
Yeah.
But also that can be interpreted as like I am an infection that's poisoned our love. So it's all very up to interpretation and stuff. But yeah, it's never explained in detail
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
how and why.
Yeah, because he has that line. He goes, all these lyrics are coming back to me.
Yeah.
He goes, stranger than you dreamt it. Can you even dare to look, even think of me? Anyway, and he goes on. He goes,
Yeah.
this repulsive carcass which seems a beast, but secretly, is it dreams of? Dreams of beauty, secretly, secretly, secretly. Yeah, yeah. And God, he's a tortured character, isn't he? The Phantom. Yeah, there's a lot of pain in his life. But Christine's like his saving grace. You can see why he loves her so much. But yeah, why does she do that? Why does she remove the mask in that moment? Because at that point he's been hunted like a dog, and people know that he's a murderer. People know that he needs help more than anything, but they've got to catch him. So why does she expose him like in that way?
The way I play it is, you know, she's, she is in danger, and he has killed people, spoiler alert.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's that thing of she's scared of him as well as loving him, as well as, having the understanding of him. She is also scared of him, in that moment, especially. And I think I always go, I'm going to try and catch him unawares. So we've passed the point of no return, and I take the mask off. And in that moment, because it's been quite a sexual scene, and there's been lots of, intimacy in that way of like getting close to kissing and not, I play it as if I'm, you know, going to maybe kiss him in the scene. Because
Yeah.
obviously, this is within an opera, so we're on stage. So I always play, I'm going to go and try and do the blocking. No, I'm going to catch you unawares so that we almost reset. So it takes him out of this like predatory state, and it because she's seen him without the massive thought on how he gets, and I think she wants him to reset and be like, oh, and he does do that. He literally goes, he almost glitches, and he goes, oh God, what have I done? And I think it is that moment of realization. And again, I think Christine has to do a lot of, the kiss is a physical thing, the movement of the mask is a physical thing, and I think it takes that for him to realize things, and she knows that about him. So yeah, I think it's that moment of like reset and realization of what he's done,
Mm. Yeah, I
and
think.
he's now just as vulnerable as she is, because he's
Yeah.
removed that protective layer of this mask, which makes him this persona. He's not. He's a human being, and I
Mm.
think she wants to become that human being again, rather than this mask wearing phantom.
Mm.
Yeah,
Is it kind of an act of love, do you think?
yeah. I think it's an act of love and preservation, and yeah, I think it's a lot of different things, and it can, again, night to night can always be interpreted differently. I think that's also the great thing about playing Christine, is that there are so many little things that you maybe wouldn't notice, but can be interpreted differently and can mold to you as a person, and also to the other people you're playing across from. Uh, and I just think that's so amazing when like covers come on, or a new cast member joins, and the whole show, at least for me, changes in such a positive way, because there's so many different things now that are happening, that even though they're doing the same blocking, singing the same things, it's so different and it's amazing. And so I think, an audience member coming back time after time to see the show, they'll never see the same show twice.
No,
So,
no.
and I think that is the beauty of live theatre.
Yeah, it's different every night. Every night is something unique. If you don't mind me asking you, as performers, sometimes we come off stage one night or we do a take or something and we think, okay, that wasn't my best tonight. Well, okay, but it's all right. We'll try again. We'll try again. How do you
Yeah.
sort of get over that sort of, because we all have this little self-talk sometimes, which you have to tell just to shut up and go away. But yeah, if you walk off stage one night and you think, "Ah, that wasn't my best. I mean, how do you sort of pick yourself up again?
I mean, I've been on a big old journey with that. And I think with Christine, it's so hard being, I think as performers, we're all perfectionists to a certain degree.
Mm,
But with Christine, there's so much to get wrong. There's so much to get right, but there's so much room for error. And there's a lot of vulnerable moments, or, yeah, bits when you're on your own, or there's just so many bits that
yeah.
I feel like if you get into that doomsday of like, oh God, what if this goes wrong? You just spiral. And I'm sure many, many Christines have been there at some point. And I was there because I was first cover last year before I got promoted to alternate. And I ended up going on quite a lot just for different reasons. And uh, I got to that place where I think, because of the last minute nature of it, you never quite know if you're going on as a cover.
Mm,
Uh, and I did get to that point where, I messed up once, and as everyone does, once upon a time.
of
And
course.
I just, because I'd luckily never messed up before, and I just didn't know how to deal with it. And so I was like, oh God, well, next time I go on, which I didn't know when that was going to be, I've
Yeah.
got to make it all perfect to make sure that I know that I can do it. And
Yeah.
that's such a toxic way of thinking of like,
Yeah.
I have to prove to myself that I can do it every single time. And you've got the job and you've done it. And I've done it over 115 times now. So I know that I can do it. And if I have a bad day, it's a bad day and everyone has them. And it just so happens that my bad day is in front of 2,000 people and not in front of, two people on Zoom,
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
and so, yeah, I'm trying to give myself grace. I'm trying to just be like, I would never have a go or be angry or annoyed at someone if they messed up on stage. So why am I so angry at myself?
Yeah.
Uh, Obviously it happens every night. Then you kind of go, okay, something's not working, so let's fix it, which is
Yeah.
different to just messing up and being like, I know what that was. Let's just,
Yeah. It's,
oh,
human beings at the end of the day. Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I saw Waiting for Godot this week at the Haymarket, which your neighbours,
Yeah,
in fact. Yeah. So if you're looking for a theatre trip on your nights off, I can recommend it.
oh,
Um, I've seen it twice actually. The first time I saw it, loved it. It's great. I went back again, and then there's one moment I remember I know it's in the play, though I know it quite well, but it's like Ben Whishaw. You could see him sort of go to say like the wrong word, and he just went, "Oh," and then luckily he sort of kept in character and used. Of course, they're playing Didi and Gogo, who are just confused about life and everything. So he used that to his advantage, and he did really well. And he just went. But you could see him just took a moment and we thought, wait, and he went, you could see like him going, ah, yes. And then he just carried on. So yeah, yeah. So that was
yeah,
absolutely great. Yeah. But it happens, sometimes you come off stage and people go, oh shit, I messed that line up. I missed that bit
yeah,
there. I had to retract it. And people go, yeah, good save, good save. But it happens, people think that we're kind of like robots on stage and stuff like that. And we're really not. We're just
yeah.
human.
But I think also messing up is in some ways a great thing. And look, I am the first person to be like, oh my God, I messed up, I'm gonna die. But like I was not love it, but I'm always like, oh yeah, because we're reacting to each other. And sometimes, some nights, something will throw you, or you're a human and you have emotions, and some you might have just momentarily gone, oh God, yeah, that. Oh, words. Do you know what I mean? There's so many different things. Or you might be having a bad vocal day. You might just be really tired and run down and you crack on a note. Again, it means you're human and every night is different. And I still think that's just as special as a different moment that's happening.
Mm.
Um, and also, hey, it's a bit funny.
Oh
It
yeah.
it really is. Like it really is a bit funny. Like if I'm not gonna name who it was, but someone cracked on stage.
Oh,
I was
oh,
sorry, I'm literally laughing so much now. And cracked on stage, and they never ever crack. And
oh yeah.
uh, it was quite covered. There were other people singing, so you couldn't really hear it. But I
Hmm.
heard, and we just came off, and we were just in tears of laughter because it was so funny, and it was such a like, and it was iconic, and it
Yeah.
actually made the show really funny and just better because then it's like, oh well, we've cracked, so who cares, kind of
Yeah.
thing. Just get on and do our voice, and it'll be fine. So yeah, it's also funny,
Yeah.
and you can't take yourself too seriously. We're not saving lives. We love to say that we're not saving lives, we're not doing brain surgery. If we crack, if we mess up, no, nothing's going to happen to us. You
Mm.
know, our creatives know that that is not the norm, and if it becomes the norm, then obviously we'll sort it out. But
Yeah.
until that happens,
Mm.
just leave yourself alone. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. It's live theatre. Anything can happen. Now, have you ever been doing Christine and you've had a show stop? Has that ever
Oh
happened?
yeah, many, 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 many times. Well, I say many times. Like I've maybe had as ensemble. Obviously, I've been through quite a few because it's
Hmm.
such a people don't realize how tech heavy Phantom is,
Yeah.
but it really is like, and
Yeah.
it's so ahead of its time when it came out in the 80s. And a lot of the stuff is still the same today because it still works.
Mm.
Um, and yeah, we've had quite a few like sort of no boat shows where like the boat won't work for varying reasons. So we've walked on water. That's always fun.
Oh.
Yeah, that that happened. That happened the other day actually, and it was me and Dean going into the first lair, which is like music of the night, and we were singing the song Phantom of the Opera.
Yes.
We were getting into the boat. I sat on the boat and it wasn't moving, and I was going, "When night is blind, the Phantom of the Opera is there," and they were like, "No boat, no boat, walk, walk." I was like, what? Because
Yeah,
it never happened there before. And hilariously, I mean, I'm such an actor. If someone tells me to do something, I'm just going to do it. I'm not going to question it. If they tell me to
yeah,
jump off a
yeah.
bridge, I'll jump off a bridge, you know? So I just literally, like a robot, just got out and just started, walked out and was like, oh, look at all the things. And Dean was still like, what? What? And he was still on the boat backstage. Well, I was just on stage, just by myself for like literally, when I say 0.2 seconds, it was literally like 0.2 seconds.
Yeah.
Dean then immediately dropped the sticks, had to get rid of the boat pole because you
Yeah,
can't
it's
just
literally just like, get rid of
yeah,
it.
you had to hand that aside and walk on behind me. And because we never stand up, everything was so much higher. And bless him, because Dean was just trying to get on stage, he sort of bonked his head a little bit on.
Oh,
And it was just so, it was honestly so funny. And I couldn't look at him. I could not look at him for the majority of the Phantom of the Opera, which is obviously irritating because there's a lot of eye contact.
yeah,
Uh, and it was just, and it's always that thing about when you're in a classroom and you can't laugh, it makes it so much funnier. And obviously we're singing. So of course I can't laugh because otherwise I will stop singing.
yeah,
So just honestly, the amount of effort it took to just
yeah,
but yeah, it's again, it's funny and it's really
yeah,
it makes the show live because it is
yeah,
live theatre and it still
yeah,
works. And people were like, actually, that looked pretty cool. I was like, it felt cool. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
loved it.
I'd like to see Walking on Water actually. That'd be really
Yeah.
fascinating. Yeah, but I could imagine that must have been a very painful music of the night for you. Afterwards, you're literally going, okay, concentrate,
Well,
concentrate,
well, there was so
because
that was
you try not to laugh, I suppose, after
well,
all
no,
that.
because I have a feeling. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm right. That once, basically, because there was no boat, the automation like stopped or something, so they couldn't bring in the portcullis, and then there was no boat for me to fall in, and all this kind of stuff. So they basically made the decision to do a show stop. So we finished the toppy, sing and then they basically came on stage, got me and Dean and the Jess, who was Bride in the Mirror, off stage, and then they brought the safety curtain down and basically just reset the automation. Well, reset, I don't know what they do, but
Yeah,
do something with the automation to make sure it all ran smoothly. And then we set, that was about, I think, maybe 5 or 6 minutes. And then really quick, and then we reset to the end of the number. So it was just, I just sung the toppy, and then boom, it then started again.
mm,
And there was like, woo! So it's kind of fun, you
yeah,
know quite
yeah.
exciting when that kind of stuff happens. But yeah, we did a show stop, and by that point it was sort of we'd laughed it out, and we were like, we're back, we're
Mm.
back.
You're back
Um,
now. Just get it out of
yeah,
your system. Get it out of the
yeah,
system. Yeah, I want to bring up one more story, which is which by the way is in your vlog. You have your YouTube channel, by the way. Link is down below in the description, guys. Go check it out. It's a lovely vlog about what Eve gets up to when she goes into theatre, what she's like, what she does vocal warm ups in the morning, and to coming home, getting rest, etc. Go check it out. It's really really good.
more
So
coming. There's more. There's content being filmed. There's more
there's,
coming.
okay, there's more. There's more to come. There's more to come. So in the vlog, you told this story that there's that duet. I think I mentioned it earlier. All I ask of you when Raoul and Christine have that lovely song together, and they basically fall in love in each other's arms and stuff. And is it so? Tell me the story about one night where your Raoul went in to give you that kiss, and unfortunately, it went just a little bit wrong.
So me and Joe are good friends, and we've been friends since he joined the cast last year. And we've done so many shows together, and we're just, we're very comfortable with each other. And for some reason, that night we were just having a good time. We were just having a good time on stage, and it's one of those moments in the show where you actually get to be happy. You know,
Hmm.
unadulteratedly happy for about 5 minutes. It's just the best feeling in the whole world. So we're about to come in for the kiss, and how it works is I go, say you love me, and he's like, you know
You
I
know
do.
I do.
Then love me, that's all I ask of you. And then a gorgeous instrumental comes in, the orchestra, and basically Raoul comes over and is overcome and he kisses me. And it's quite a like not sudden, that's the wrong word, but like quite a smooth, like woof, like kiss. And then we break apart, and then I return the kiss. So I then go and kiss him. And so he comes over and he's walking towards me, and he's, doing his very suave smile. And he comes towards me for the kiss. But I think he underestimated how either tall or short I was for some reason, because I'd been away on holiday.
Yeah.
His nose just went into my eye,
Oh
just
no.
boom, into my eye. And obviously we were then we were laughing so hard. Then we had to break apart and do anywhere, did not look at him. I literally was like, anywhere you go, let me go to. Oh, honestly, it was like one of the hardest moments ever, I think, of trying to sing. And then my eyes started watering. I couldn't really look out of my eyes. So I was like, I must go, they'll wonder where I am. Wait for the crowd. And obviously, luckily, I don't think the audience could really see, but I couldn't see as well because one of my eyes was closed.
Yeah,
Um, just so funny. And it's just one of those things, again, live theatre, it happens. So
yeah,
good. And luckily my eye fully recovered. It was fine.
yeah.
Yes, his nose did in fact make full eye contact with my eyeball.
Mm.
Yes. But
Live
hey,
theatre.
very romantic, you
Oh,
know.
yeah. Looking for a good date night idea. You can do that.
Yeah.
But,
Just headbutt your love interest. Do
yeah.
it.
Yeah. Well, luckily, actually, after that, it's the interval for you. Then you've got 15 minutes off to, and you must have been like 15 minutes, like, okay, are you okay? Yeah,
We
I
do
can see
makeup.
a little bit of makeup. It's all good. But yeah, what's it like, sort of towards the end of the show, like when you've where you've sort of sung your Christine's final bit is again, it's like say you love me in every way, and then she disappears off with Raoul. And
Yeah.
like, what's it like when you sort of go, okay, I'm done now. I'm done for today. What's that feeling like?
It always changes. Sometimes it's like, oh my God, that was so like, because sometimes you're tired or you're ill or whatever, or you come back from holiday. Oh my God, coming back from holiday is the hardest thing in the world doing
Mm,
Christine. 'Cause you've suddenly gone from like sitting on a sunbed for 7 days and you're suddenly now like just singing your guts out for like 2,000 people. You're like, oh,
yeah,
whoa.
bit of a
Um,
change.
but sometimes it's like I cannot wait to go home and get into bed. Other times I'm literally like, that was an incredible show. Woohoo, pub. And
Yeah,
it changes night to night, but it's always like a very cathartic feeling. It's like, oh, I did a good job today. Or like, I've done some good hard work. It's a great feeling. Like I love working, I love my job. So it is a great feeling of just being like, ah, let's do it again. You know.
mm,
Um,
yeah,
the job's never done.
yeah,
So
exactly.
yeah, but it's great. And me and Joe get a little bit of time to just chat as well because after we disappear, we have about maybe like 2 minutes where the final bit of the show is going on and the Phantoms, no spoilers, but is basically ends up disappearing. And there's all that going on and discovery of him leaving. So we have about 4 minutes of just being able to chat about our day, any funny bits happen in the show. I redo my makeup as well,
Hmm.
which is funny because they never really used to do that, but they bring me like a bit of foundation and stuff because my skin's much darker than Dean's. So when we do the kiss, often his prosthetic or a foundation makeup gets on me, and so I have like white patches all over my face. So they come and they give me like some foundation to then cover all that up.
Nice.
So I do a makeup check for the bowels as well, just in case there are any photos.
Absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
yeah, no, so we have a little chat, say hi to the ensemble, and like Colleen's one of my best mates, and she's in the ensemble, so we have a little before she has to go on and bow.
Yeah.
Because I don't see anyone in the show, I see no one. It's quite a lonely track, so it's always nice to check in with people when I can.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, because again, going back to the vocal stuff, I mean, Christina has is that top E that you do every
Mm.
single night. And it's you mentioned there sometimes the voices can crack, sometimes it's better some performances than others. So how do you look after your voice during such a
Funny you should
particular,
say that.
yeah.
Just been steaming before this.
Ah, there you
So
go.
I'm actually recovering from a chest infection. This will be my first show back in like a week and a half.
Yeah.
Um, So steam always, because it hydrates your vocal folds and sort of helps get rid of any mucus that's on the folds.
Hmm.
Drinking a lot of water as well.
Hmm.
I like to drink like two of these before the show and then go through one during the show as well.
Hmm.
Uh, Cool downs changed my life. Uh, so after the show, you'll do some like vocal exercises to sort of reset your larynx,
Yeah.
bring your voice back down, because obviously you've been singing crazy notes and also just big notes and long notes and all the notes. So, bring your voice back down, sort of reset before you go to sleep. Um, yeah, and I try not to be too like strict as well, because if you have tension in your vocal folds, that also promotes like unhealthy singing. So I
Yeah.
get physio appointments where I get like neck neck massages and laryngeal massages,
Mm,
sort of reset and release any tension that might come from either costumes or wigs or just the choreography in the show. There's lots of like looking up, so I often get tension down here because I'm doing music of the night. There's lots of like looking up. So I get physio for that. But yeah, I try just to like eat whatever I want to eat. I don't really, because nothing touches your vocal folds. Obviously, if you have like a reaction to something, then it might hurt your vocal folds. But
yeah,
I just try and eat what I want, uh, keep hydrated, and warm up properly. Yeah, and cool
yeah,
down.
yeah. Is that kind of like your pre-show ritual? It's just warming up
Yeah,
properly.
so I always do. I mean, some people don't. I just like to, just in case something, my voice is suddenly like, oh God, I can't do this. So after this, I'll probably go and warm up,
Mm,
do a little like my own warm up that I have, just to check that everything is there. Won't do anything crazy, or maybe just practice the cadenza just to make sure. And then I'll go into work, do whatever, and then we'll have vocal warm up where I'll then get my voice to like the big place, like the full performance vibe, and then yeah, and then I'll just get on with my show, really.
yeah,
But yeah, warming up
nice.
is a big part of my like getting ready routine because I just like to make sure my voice is ready.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, I'm just thinking about because another thing we do as performers, like we like to, well, particularly lucky if you've got like a role like Christine, is because so many people have done it before, like Sierra Bodges, Sarah Brightman. So many people have done it. Was there any one of them? Was that not specifically those two, but anyone like that you've seen or heard play Christine, which was a big influence on yourself and helped to sort of shape your own characterization of her?
Well, I mean, who doesn't? But I absolutely love Sierra Burgess. I just think
Oh,
she
she's
I
fantastic.
I just I watched her like Broadway.com vlogs
Mm.
that she did when she was playing Christine on Broadway, and I watched the 25th anniversary of Phantom maybe like 50 times. I have that DVD, it's worn out.
Yeah.
Like I loved that version.
Mm.
I actually saw her in Love Never Dies when I think I was 10,
Mm.
and I luckily got to go backstage, and I didn't get to meet her because I think she rushed off, but I met Ramin Karimloo,
Oh,
um,
yes.
and Joseph Milson, who's playing Raoul. He basically showed us all backstage. I got to go on the stage, and it was like incredible. I got him to sign my program, and I slept with that program under my pillow for like a year. Like I'm not joking. Um, so yeah, I think she was like the first Christine I heard, and also the one that maybe I've now sort of got little bits from just because I've watched her so many times. I haven't watched her in a while actually because I don't. I want to find my own Christine. I think I have now, but I think at the start it was just a good sort of point of going, oh, this is the show. Let me just watch the show and then we'll do it again. But also, I saw Celine, I want to say this right, Celinda Schumacher or Shoemaker. I can't pronounce her name properly, but I saw her on the West End with Ben Forster, and oh my God, her voice
Mm.
is incredible. And I still remember her wishing to this day. So she was also vocally inspired me. Yeah,
Mm. Yeah.
I think those two were definitely the two that I remember, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think from a personal note, I think my favorite Phantom actually is John Owen Jones. I think he is.
I've never seen him. I've never seen
Yeah.
him do Phantom. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, from what I've heard, and actually, I'll be perfectly honest, I didn't actually see him do it, but I've heard him sing Music of the Night and stuff, and that's my favorite version of it, I think. But, like you say, I watched the 25th anniversary of Phantom, I don't know how many times, but just Ramin Karimloo is, yeah, I think I'd probably say I'd probably say he's my favorite. John Owen Jones is fantastic, don't get me wrong, but in terms of like full performance, which I've seen, then Ramin is, he's the way he
Yeah.
hits that note. What's the note in Music of the Night where he goes, let your soul take you where you want to be. What's
I actually don't know.
okay, cool.
It's a wonderful note. It's a wonderful note, and
Oh,
Dean hits it gorgeously every time. But
yeah,
I, I'm not. I'm not going to guess. There's no point because I don't know.
yeah, sure, sure, sure. But is it baritone or tenor, Phantom? I think it's tenor.
I think it is actually I think it's actually a baritone role,
Yeah. Hmm.
or at least I know a lot of baritones have played it.
Yeah, it's a high baritone role though, isn't it?
Yes, yeah, I think it's probably like Barry tenor kind of crossover.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's great because I think actually a lot of men can sing it and they can interpret the role in a different way to then suit their voice as well. So
Mm.
again, the Phantom always sounds so different because there can be so much vocal interpretation of how you sing it.
Mm,
Which I always think is great because when the covers go on and stuff, it's a different Phantom, it's a different show, and it
mm.
sounds and it's just amazing that everyone can bring their own spin on it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Um, so have you found like I suppose like it's sort of in summary of Christine now, we're just going to talk about a few more things in a second, but in terms of like how have you found this whole experience? How's life as an understudy?
Well, I mean, so I'm not an understudy anymore, but I was for 2 years.
Okay.
So I was on second cover, and then I got promoted to first cover, and then now I'm alternate. So it feels weird because it feels like Christine's so different now from when it was in my debut to now. It's like completely different. And I just think, yeah, I don't know. It's weird because it feels like I've been playing it forever, but also no time at all.
Mm,
So it's like a fresh experience every time because it really is different, and I can't. I've said this so many times, but night to night is so different. Um, but yeah, I think it's just an amazing experience, really. And I try not, obviously, sometimes you do, but I try not to take it for granted because I think it's an iconic role, and again, it's almost part of musical theatre history now that that role, and so many girls do dream of playing it, and I just feel so lucky and grateful that I am one of those girls who's got to do it,
yeah.
and also do it for so long. And it's also great that the team have trusted me each time to give me a bigger responsibility playing Christine.
Mm,
I've gone from doing it twice in 1 year, which was when I was second cover, to doing it over 100 times now. And the trust that obviously put in me and the belief that they had that I could get to this. I'm now playing one of the principal Christines, which is just crazy to me. And I've got my face outside the theatre. Um, so yeah, I think it's a great experience, and it's scary at times for sure,
yeah.
and nerve-wracking, but it's all worth it when you get to sing those songs up on stage.
Yeah. Do you feel like is there anything that about Christine which you haven't discovered yet, or then which you'd like
Oh
to?
God, so much.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes there'll be like clips that come up like because my obviously phone listens to you, and sometimes on TikTok it will come up with like someone else doing the role, and sometimes I won't watch it, sometimes I will, and I'll go, oh my God, yeah, I didn't even think of that. That's amazing.
Mm,
And there's so many little, again, nuances that you do discover as time goes on, and also as you grow up. I was 21 when I first started, Christine. I'm now 20, just turned 25. So
wow.
it's that weird thing of as I've got older and my life has changed, my Christine has changed as well. And I think that is the beauty of this role, that she is my age, and we sort of grown up together in a really weird way. Like I started my professional adult life with Christine, and I'm still there with her.
Mm,
Um, so yeah, it's still a journey. I hate using that word journey, but it is. I'm still not finished with her, and I'm still very much discovering things as time goes on. Yeah.
yeah. Brilliant. But again, congratulations on Christine and everything that you've done with it. I'm sure you're just gonna continue playing it. If they offer, I know you said you've done it over 100 times now, but if they give you the role, you are the main Christine, like for the next year, you are the first on the bill to perform it every single night and afternoon. What would your answer be?
Well, and I had my agent is amazing, and we've talked about this as well. And I think it's one of those things where you can't make a decision until it happens.
Hmm.
Um, and I think again, it's just an honor to even be. I haven't been asked, by the way, but if I were to be asked, it would be a massive honor.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's one of those things where, again, depending on where my life is, my personal life is as well.
Sure.
Whether that's a good decision or whether I should step away or whatever. And it's always a constant thing in this industry. Nothing's ever promised to you.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, I'm trying not to think about anything other than playing the role that I am now, and enjoying every second really, because you
Yeah.
never know.
Exactly. Exactly. Have you ever done two show days? Have you ever?
Oh yeah, yeah, loads of them. Yeah,
Oh my God. What's it like? Well, like, can you speak after a two show day?
weirdly, yeah. Like it's one of those things where you just have to clock in,
Mm,
just have to go boof
mm,
and just do it. And it's weird because actually the first show kind of feels quite fun because it's like, oh, well, you got another one to do, so let's just have fun with this one. But yeah, I love it because also you get to see more of the cast, and there's more of a togetherness atmosphere because everyone's there from like 12 till 10 rather than 5 till 10, so you get double amount of time with people.
Mm.
And the company's so great that I want to spend as much time as possible with them. Yeah.
Yeah, perfect, perfect. I just got a few more things left for you, Eve. I know you got to shoot off. I know you got rehearsal to get to in a minute, so just a few more things. You have a you offer vocal lessons for people, so I just want to do a little plug into there. So how can people get in touch with you, and why should they come to you as their vocal teacher?
Yeah, so I have just opened my books from like September, and I've got about 8 or 9 students already, and they're all amazing. And so on my Instagram page, you can contact Eve Shanu-Wilson singing at gmail.com. And that's my like teaching email. And I always respond to everyone on there about times and slots and sort of what I can offer. And I feel like what I can offer is I've had a lot of singing lessons in my time with lots of different teachers and who practice lots of different methods of singing. And so I feel like over the years, I've accumulated so much knowledge and so many different nuggets of knowledge.
Mm,
I feel like I just want to pass on to people. And I always believe in like one size does not fit all. And everyone's voice is so different and the way they work it and the way how they feel with their voice is so different. And so I always say to my students, like, if I give you something to as an exercise to work on and it doesn't work or doesn't feel right, tell me. I will not be offended, and we'll figure something else out. We'll do a different exercise to get to the same result. Because I always, we're all people pleasers in this industry, and we're like, yes, that works. And if it doesn't work for you, I really believe in not trying to force it to work. And it's all about discovery, I think, of your voice and finding your voice. And I think, with technology how it is now, it's so much easier to access cast recordings and bootlegs and clips of people singing that you admire. And I think the overconsumption of that has led to people taking on or trying to emulate other people's voices. And I've been a victim of that before, and I've tried to emulate someone else's voice, and I've gone to a singing lesson and gone,
oh yeah,
that's not my voice. That's literally
I've
how
done
I
that as
sing.
well. I've done that as well.
Yeah, yeah, and we've all done it, and I always like to try and get my students to find their own version of the song that still sounds great and in keeping with either the context or the style of the song,
Mm,
but I want it to be themselves. Because I think at the end of the day, that's what we're selling in this industry is ourselves. We're not selling an idea of someone else. It's we're giving us, and that's what then people hire us to do is put ourselves into this show and give our take on it.
mm,
So if you're giving someone else's take on it, it's not truthful or real to you. So yeah, I want people to discover their own voices, and hopefully I can help with that.
mm. Absolutely, yeah. So follow the. So we've got Eve's Instagram. All the details, everything will be down below, guys. So if you are looking for singing lessons, go check her out for her advice and everything in between. So great. Just got a few more things left for you, Evie, and Eve, sorry, and then we'll sort of finish up. So we've got two. Yeah, we did the two closing questions now, actually here. So usually I ask this because it's about a bit of advice that you wish you heard when you were starting out, and you've had an amazing start out already. Second cover and now first cover, and all that stuff for Christine. But if you were to sort of when you started it, you said you were 21. So if you're your 21-year-old self jumping straight into the West End for this, what would you say was a bit of advice that you wish you heard at the time?
Gosh, so much stuff. But I think it sounds, I feel like so many people say this, but you've got to trust the process. And I
Mm,
think I think when you get a job or you're in uni and you're graduating from drama school, you sort of think of all these things that you have to do. And I think you will get there, and things will happen for you no matter what, in whatever, however that amalgamates in your life. But I think, yeah, just trust the process, and it is a process. It's not the finished product, and you're never going to be the finished product.
mm,
So I think it's fruitless trying to get there, especially at such a young age. And when you leave, you're still going to be learning.
mm.
So much of the learning happens on the job or when you're auditioning and workshopping with creatives. And I truly believe that drama school is an amazing foundation, and it's the backbone to everything you do, but
Yeah,
it's not the finished product, and you're not the finished product when you leave. And I
no,
think expecting that of yourself puts way too much pressure on
it does.
you and
It
your career.
does. It really
Yeah.
does. Yeah.
So I think yeah, trusting the process and realizing that the work is never done, but just find the fun in it.
Mm.
Yeah.
Find the fun in things. Yeah, I like that. That's good. And finally, today, what would you say was an experience or experiences you've had in your career up to now that you'll never ever forget? You might have answered this already, but in case there's anything else.
Gosh, I think, making my Christine debut
Of
back
course.
in 2023 was life-changing.
Yeah.
But also, I think doing my principal debut this year as alternate,
Mm.
because I think it's that thing of like, wow, this role is obviously we share it, me and Lily, but it for those 2 days or however many times in the week I play it, it's mine, and I get to look after her and bring her story to life to an audience. And I think, yeah, like seeing myself outside the theatre, like on a big billboard, and like my name on the big poster, I was like, oh wow, okay, that's crazy. Because
Yeah.
you dream of that as a little kid, and you hope that one day you'll get there, but it's never a given. And so I was always like, again, what will be will be. Uh, and yeah, it was just I got quite emotional seeing it for the first time because I was like, wow, that's like me up there playing a dream role. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's quite a moment, isn't it? Oh my
Yeah.
God. Yeah, but anyway, just enjoy it. Absolutely, keep enjoying it and everything else. Yeah, and so I'll let you go off to rehearse now. And but first of all, thank you so much for today, Eve. This has been absolutely great to
Well,
hear
it's
you.
been amazing speaking to you.
Yeah, no, I've. It's funny because I'm seen or kind of listened to Phantom for years. It's kind of I suppose I already got phantomed out because you
Yeah.
listen to it too much and you're like, oh no, okay, right, I've had enough of this now. But it's yeah, it's great coming back to it now and everything, making me realize that yeah, it's a bloody good show, isn't
It
it?
is, yeah, and I feel like actually it's almost not having a resurgence, but I think it's been enough time that people are like, oh, I should probably go and see that again, or oh, it looks like it's really changed. Let's go and revisit it. And also
Mm.
that it never gets old, and I think it's
No.
such a beautiful score, and it is a beautiful story told through music predominantly,
Yeah.
because it's a musical. So yeah, I think people can find so much from it, and so they do come back and revisit. And I think that's why it's still running to this day is
Mm.
because it's always, again, as an actor or an audience member, there's always something to find that will change you and also give you a new show every time you watch it.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, I've just got one tiny little question just before we
Oh,
finish.
God.
Yeah, you've met Cameron McIntosh and Andrew Lloyd Webber, right?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. And have they sort of been helpful? Have they given you like a little nugget of advice or a little bit of guidance towards Christine in any way that's really, really helped you?
Gosh, I mean, with Andrew, I met him like in a group of people. He came in recently and sort of just came to meet us because he'd seen the show and he sort of wanted to meet the cast again.
Hmm.
Um, and that was an amazing moment just to sort of see him.
Hmm.
But Cameron, I've spoken to, and I mean, he was just very complimentary and he was lovely. And he had some notes from the show that we then worked on about the partnership of Phantom and Christine, and especially Music of the Night, setting that up and making sure it's really visceral for the audience, and you're projecting what obviously it's a very intimate thing, but obviously the audience, it's a 2,000 or 1,900 seat audience, so
Yeah.
you need to project that across to everyone, and so everyone can feel it and be a part of it. And so yeah, I think that was a great thing of it's not just about the two of you on stage, it's so much bigger than that.
Yeah.
um I think that's an amazing piece of advice because you can forget because they're all in the dark. You can kind of just get into your own head and you go, no, there are people out there, and that's who I'm doing it for,
Yeah.
and it's
They're there.
for them to experience it in the best way possible that I can deliver. So yeah.
Brilliant. Fantastic. Cool. Eve, thank you very much. This has been absolutely great, and I've loved talking to you and everything. And I can't wait to see what else you do and the more roles that you tackle. We'll get you in Les Mis next. That seems to be the next like trajectory, isn't it? Into the next one. But
It's lame as to Phantom, but hey, who knows? The other way around might be possible.
hey, we'll break the mold. We'll break the mold. Brilliant
Yeah.
stuff. Eve, thank you very much for your time today. I really appreciate it. If you just hang on, I'll finish the recording, have a little debrief afterwards. But yeah,
Great.
brilliant. This has been fantastic, and more love to Phantom of the Opera. It's great. So go see Eve, guys. Tuesdays and Fridays, she'll be there on those nights. So go and see her if you can, which is great. But in the meantime, thank you for guys. Thank you for watching and thank you for listening. This has been the Uncensored Critic, and I'll be back very, very soon. And yeah, brilliant stuff. Eve, thank you so much.